All right, so I'd like to thank you for joining me. I enjoyed the Kirona, and I'm excited to have you on. For the
Well,
first
thanks
part,
for having me. I love the background.
thank you. And so for the first part, can you please introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Sure. My name is Danish Farooqui, and I'm currently performing in the Kite Runner Broadway National Tour.
That's awesome. And so, what was the audition process like for the Kite Runner?
Sure. So I was in the original Broadway production of this 2 years ago. So I'll start with that because that was involved in this one too. So for that one, I saw an online casting notice. Most of our work is from a website called Actors Access. That's where all wide variety of work you can find, like TV film jobs, also like very high-end theater jobs, as well as like independent projects. So I saw the audition notice for the Kite Runner Broadway show in 2022, and so I applied for that. I just said I had a profile ready with the pictures, video, resume, all that stuff. So I just sent it in, and I got an audition for it. And so it's actually this was right around the time where in-person auditions went way down because of the pandemic. So, and also on top of that, the casting and creative team were on a bunch of different places. Like the production team was in UK, the casting team was in New York, some other folks were in LA. So it just made a lot more sense to do everything online, and I'm so happy for that. So the audition process, I recorded myself on my phone, like it self-tape auditions. So I received a script, set up my phone camera, and I did that. There's a few scenes that I did, recorded that, and I sent it through the site. About a week or two later, I got a callback request. Basically, same exact scenes, but they wanted me to do it for them virtually, like in real time. So there was about 3 or 4 rounds of that. So say for the original production, there was about 4 rounds total of like just doing the same scenes, and then they're just narrowing down their pool of applicants each time. But we're doing the same exact thing. They're asking me a few questions about like my experience. Can you do this? Do you have this physical ability, vocal ability, all these different things. So eventually got down to that after 4 rounds, and then I got a phone call from the casting office. They offered me the Broadway production, of course, and I was super excited about that. Interesting thing, when I first applied for that, I didn't know that it was a Broadway production. Just like reading the breakdown, I couldn't really tell like what production level this project is. Usually when I see the name of a newish project, it's typically assumed that it's a workshop or it's material that they're just working out. But no, when I got the call, they said, "Hey, Broadway contract." Wait, what? You serious? Okay, so anyways, so after that, got that offer, then I, just got ready to go do that. And that was the production 2 years ago. For the national tour, the audition process, since they already knew me, it was the same production team. The casting team was different, but most of the folks involved, they already knew me. So I saw the audition notice, but even before I saw the audition notice, I actually got an email requesting availability. Like they reached out to me even before they published the audition notice. It was more like, "Hey, are you available if we do this?" Yes, of course, love to. Then I saw the audition notice again online, and I just, why not? They already know me, but why not have another foot in the door? So for this one, I only auditioned one time, me personally. I know others did audition more times because it was their first time in front of these people. Since they already knew me, I only auditioned one round of auditions for this particular production. And after that, it was one Zoom virtual session. Then they sent me an email to my agents just offering me the national tour contract.
That's
That's
great.
it.
And so, what was so with your self-tape, was there a certain character you were auditioning for during the auditions for the Broadway production?
Yeah, so I was considered for Hassan Sorab, and then also the Wali Bully Boy Doctor. I was considered for both of those tracks. And in my contract, I'm actually on contract for both those characters. So it was between those two for the audition callback
Oh,
process.
that's awesome. Yeah. And so, with the tour unfortunately coming to an end at the end of the month, has there been a certain stop that has been your favorite?
Oh, actually, it's Chicago, the one we're in right now. We're doing our last show here today. Chicago's been great. I had very high expectations for it, anyways, knowing that it was a theater town, having some family friends, and other folks in the cast. They also have family here, so just whatever my preconceived idea of Chicago was. Chicago definitely delivered, and I'm very happy for that. Be sad we're going to be leaving this place tomorrow. And aside from that, another one of my favorite stops was West Palm Beach. The name itself is self-explanatory. We spent a good week there, very close to the beach, as the name of the town uh, suggests. And just a very nice area, great weather, very great audience too. So yeah, those are some of my favorite stops.
That's great. And so, if I'm not mistaken, you last Sunday you went on a couple hours before the show. You got a call a couple hours before the show to go on for San, right?
Correct,
So
correct. Yeah,
what
because
was
I'm understudy.
your process of immediately getting ready? Why did you get the call 2 hours before the show?
Sure. So for that particular role, I've been preparing it. I mean, even in the original Broadway production, I was preparing for that too, because I was also understudying it in that production as well. So I thankfully I was in the unique position. I was ready. I've been ready to play that character. Like even before this natural tour contract started, even during the previous production, like I learned all the lines, costume track, and the entire journey throughout the show for that role. So I've already been ready. So just for this national tour version, it was just reinforcing what I already prepared with a few changes. There's slightly few different changes in the script and this production, but just embracing that. So when I got the call that day, I was just really excited. It wasn't really much else to prepare. Like, oh, I need to learn my lines again. Like, no, I already got this. I already did it in rehearsal a few weeks ago. Particularly on that day, it was a holiday that day, Eid al-Adha for Muslims. A lot of us are in the cast are practicing Muslims. So it was already a very busy day for me because of that. So when I got it, it was just a bunch of excitement, you know. And I'm very glad that I prepared that role years ago, especially months ago too, just so I was just ready. Honestly, there really wasn't much preparation to do that day. There wasn't really enough time to, if I had to relearn something, there wasn't enough time to go through the script and any. Honestly, I didn't really prepare much at all. It was just trusting myself. I've done this. I know what to do. Just go in, take a deep breath, and enjoy it. And yeah, it was an amazing time. Very fulfilling to play that. And trusting yourself goes a long way.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And so the that part of the your answer actually ties to my next question. What are there any major differences between the Broadway production and the touring production of the Kite Runner?
Very minor differences. There's a few line changes that our writer Matthew Spangler wanted to implement in this one. Aside from that, there's a very minor like physical direction changes. Instead of this entrance, you're going to go in from that entrance. And the production team and creative team, they're probably experimenting. We're not exactly sure why they chose to change this and that, but they just wanted to try it out. So really not. No, it's pretty much the same production.
That's
This
all.
the whole skeleton of the show. The cast is different, obviously,
Yeah.
so that adds a different energy to it. But no, it's mostly the same script, and visually, it's the same show.
That's great for you as well, since you already knew the Broadway show. It doesn't really make you learn that much more stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this next question I asked Raj as well. What are some of your favorite parts of the show?
I love the kite tournament, particularly. Everyone in the cast is on stage for that particular scene. There's so much energy, and it's leading that particular scene has its own climax. The play has its own climax, but that particular scene has its climax. And there's so much uncertainty as to what's going to happen, who's going to win. You might naturally think, oh, of course we're going to root for the main character. Of course he's going to win. But considering how much trial and tribulation and losses Amir has gone through before then, it's quite possible he might lose again. So there's a lot of tension that's built up and positive energy that in that scene. So I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, that's a great scene, and my favorite scene personally is the ending. How you can tell it's more hopeful because the spotlight on Amir gets brighter and brighter
Mhm.
and brighter until just blackout, and it's wonderful. Um,
Absolutely.
And so, what made you want to become an actor when you were younger?
Well, it's just experiencing the amazing art that was around me. So I started on the high school stage, and I was just very impressed by the work that I was seeing at school, and just really the my a lot of my friends appreciated this stuff too. So like you could call it positive peer pressure. Getting the chance to perform in high school and then just watching just great movies with great characters and great stories. And I really enjoyed like the performance aspect of it, the escapism, and just the unique ability to just express oneself through this kind of medium. So when I was pursuing it, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to pursue it professionally. I did pursue a science degree in college. I do have a science degree. So during that, I was also doing professional acting work while pursuing a science degree. And, it was going to be either this or that, or if there's a way to do both, sure, why not? But for me personally, the acting stuff just picked up earlier. I was starting to get more work, and heck, why not? If it's working, sure, let's do it. Really, that's just how it happened.
That's amazing. And so, is it hard being in a touring production when you're not really staying at one spot the whole time?
Every spot has its own challenges. The first thing I do, we go to the airport and then to our hotels in every spot that we're at. And then the first thing is, okay, let's figure out the hotel situation. We just get situated. It is tough, having to pack and unpack so much. There were some spots in this tour. We had four cities in 1 week, so we spent a bunch of time on a bus going from one place to another, or we had a bunch of flights in 1 week, and that does get tiring after a while. But the unique blessing of being on a tour is getting to see so much of the country that I just never would have seen otherwise. We've been in a bunch of small towns, and I know for sure, like, if I wasn't on tour, I probably never would have visited these parts of the country. So it's a unique blessing. I got to see a lot that I never would have.
Yeah, that's great. And so, what advice these next questions are it's a two-part question, two questions but similar. What advice would you give to your 15-year-old self?
You know, don't be so self-conscious. It's hard to, hard to tell a 15-year-old not to be self-conscious because that's just that's just what it is. But, keep putting yourself out there. Don't be afraid to take calculated risks, you know. A calculated risk is, something that can provide some sort of benefit, either short-term, long-term positive benefit. But, that's the time to really put yourself out there. Experiment with things, good things, figure out the kinds of people that you want to hang around with. What do you want to become? As a result, who do you want to become? Hang out with those people who influences you in a positive way. At the same time, things that are not calculated risks, something that could have really negative outcomes, figure out what those are for you. Especially at 15, you figure out where you're trying to figure out where you might belong in the world, and as a result, what kind of people you're going to have around you. So that it's a really important thing to figure out, who's going to be my peer group, and what are certain things that I like and don't like, what do I tolerate, figuring yourself out. Don't be afraid to do that. What I'm saying.
Yeah, that's good advice. And so, this next question I just said it ties into the last one. What advice would you give to younger students who want to become actors or actresses?
Sure. So first of all, I would ask, why do you want to pursue this profession? And of course, that applies to any profession. If you want to be, lawyer, teacher, doctor, whatever it is, why this profession particularly? And after you figure that out, okay, this is my reason that I want to do that. Great. As long as it's a long-term sustainable reason. If you just want to be an actor because you want to be on whatever magazine cover, it's not going to last very long for you. It's a very difficult image-based profession, and if you're only doing it for the image, it's going to be a very surface level career for you, and it's not going to be very fulfilling. But if you're doing it for the fulfillment, great, awesome. Make sure you back up your words with action. pursue the craft, get really good at it, make sure you do your homework, read a lot of plays and scripts, take classes, figure out what your really style is, what kind of teachers do you vibe with. So set that up for yourself and then, just learn the craft, learn the business, and then just go for it. Don't put a timeline on yourself like, oh, I have to be a millionaire within 10 years. Good luck with that. Or I have to be an A-list actor within this amount of time. It doesn't work that way. Just keep focusing on what you need to do, and then the opportunities will follow you. Of
That's great. So that's with the interview. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. And
course.
so
Thanks for having me on.